When we see these devastating environmental disasters hitting our communities, one question becomes absolutely critical. How prepared are we really? Well, today, we're going to break down a very timely academic study that looks at the very structures designed to protect us when disaster strikes.
So, what we're digging into today is a formal intervention project. It was written by Edson Roberto das Neves Jr. with guidance from his advisor, Leandro Ribeiro da Silva. This was all done for his specialization in public management and civil protection and defense at the Federal University of JUIZ DE FORA. Now, that academic context is really key here because it shows a real commitment to training sharp, capable professionals who can make a direct impact on creating a safer society for all of us. To really understand why this study matters so much, we have to start with the context. And lately, that context has been, well, nothing short of devastating, especially in Brazil's state of Rio Grande do Sul.
Let's start with the human scale of this. In the environmental disasters of May 2024 alone, almost 2.5 million people were directly affected. Just think about that. That's a population larger than many capital cities, all impacted at once.
And what about the economic cost? A truly staggering 13.3 billion reais in estimated damages. And you know, this isn't just about roads and buildings. It's about people's livelihoods, their businesses, the entire economic fabric of the state.
The data, which comes from the National Confederation of Municipalities, really paints a grim picture of the largest environmental disaster in the state's history. Get this, nearly every single municipality, 478 out of 497, was hit. The human toll was just immense. Over 180 confirmed deaths, hundreds injured, and dozens of people still missing. And this brings us to a crucial point. When a disaster hits, the very first line of defense is always the local municipality.
And that is precisely why this academic work is so essential. In the aftermath of events like these, it acts as a vital diagnostic tool. It makes us ask the really tough question, just how prepared are our municipalities?
So, the study's main goal was pretty clear, to evaluate the civil defense structures in 49 different municipalities. You can think of it like a comprehensive health checkup for these local systems. It was designed to diagnose the reality on the ground, find those systemic weaknesses, and then, most importantly, propose some real concrete improvements to build resilience.
Okay, let's get into the findings and see what this health checkup actually revealed. And I'll give you a heads up, the diagnosis is pretty concerning. It uncovered some major gaps in preparedness right where it matters most.
You know, the first red flag popped up before the analysis even really got started. Out of the 49 municipalities that were invited to participate, only 8 actually responded. That's a rate of just over 16%. Now, what's really interesting here is what that might suggest. This low level of engagement could itself be a symptom of a much bigger problem, that maybe civil defense just isn't a top priority for a lot of local governments.
The financial picture is just as jarring. Of the towns that did respond, a full 50% had absolutely no specific budgets set aside for civil protection. I mean, they're operating with a budget of 0 for these critical actions.
And here's the thing, even for the half that do have a budget, the investment is all over the place. It just goes to show there's no standardized commitment. You've got investment ranging from nearly 7 reais per person in one town, all the way down to just over 1 real in another. I mean, how can you possibly build a strong system without consistent, predictable funding?
Now, looking at the government structure, the gaps just keep on coming. While most have a municipal fund, which is good, only half have an active council for oversight. But the most shocking number here is 0. Not a single one of the municipalities studied had established community-level civil defense groups. And these are the critical link that connects the official systems directly with citizens on the ground, tapping into local knowledge for a faster response.
It's a pretty similar story when we look at human resources. Half of the municipalities have no dedicated staff for civil defense. What that means is the people who are supposed to be preparing for and responding to disasters are also juggling other totally unrelated city duties. That's just a recipe for divided focus when a crisis hits.
And this number, wow, this is maybe the most dramatic finding of all. Of all the dedicated civil defense personnel across all the participating municipalities, over 70% are concentrated in just one single city. This reveals a really dangerous imbalance, where all the preparedness is highly centralized, leaving the smaller communities incredibly vulnerable.
But this study isn't just about diagnosing problems. It actually offers a cure. So, sticking with that health checkup analogy, the author now gives us a clear prescription, a path forward with concrete, actionable recommendations.
Okay, so this is the blueprint for change.
basically a practical checklist for any city manager. It lays out a minimum structure covering 6 key areas. First up, governance and budget, creating autonomous systems with community involvement and a baseline budget of around 2 rails per person. Next, you've got people and places, forming a minimum dedicated team and securing proper infrastructure. And finally, tools and plans, investing in basic equipment and, crucially, keeping those risk management plans constantly updated.
So as we start to wrap this up, what does all of this really mean? Well, it highlights the incredibly profound and practical role that rigorous academic work can play in solving our most pressing real-world problems.
And I want to leave you with this really powerful quote, straight from the author's conclusion. It just perfectly sums up the core message. Proactive investment in preparedness isn't a cost. It's the most effective way to reduce the much, much greater cost of disaster response, and most fundamentally, to save lives. It's this quality of work that really shows the vital role this course and this university play in promoting science for efficient public management in Brazil.
If you found this analysis as insightful as I did, please help us spread this essential information. Go ahead and follow our channel, like this content, and share it so these crucial conversations can reach an even wider audience.
And of course, this is just a summary of a much bigger work. To really explore the full depth of the research, I highly recommend you check out the original academic paper. We've put a link directly to it for you in the description below.
All right, before we go, just a quick note. This material is an automated synthesis of the academic work, and it was generated with the support of artificial intelligence. Because of that, the content might contain some simplifications or inaccuracies. And we'll end with one final thought-provoking question for you. It's a question that this entire study really pushes us to ask ourselves. When you look at your own community, your own town, your own city, is it truly prepared?